Michael Hutchence, the enigmatic frontman of INXS, was a rock star who captivated millions with his voice, stage presence, and undeniable charisma. Beyond the stage, Hutchence's private life, especially his romantic relationships, intrigued the public. His relationships were tumultuous and deeply emotional, sometimes pushing him into the heights of euphoria and other times into intense despair. The affair with British television personality Paula Yates, already a wife and mother, was one of the most dramatic episodes in Hutchence's life. It left a lasting impact, fueling tabloid coverage and shaping his life's final chapters in tragic ways. In the early 1980s, as Hutchence's fame with INXS began to rise, so did his profile in the world of celebrity. He attracted a series of high-profile relationships with women who matched his star power and charisma. From his early romances with actresses and models, he quickly earned a reputation for his charm and allure. Michele Bennett was not only one of Hutchence's early romantic partners but also a lifelong friend and confidante. They met in the early 1980s when INXS was starting to gain fame, and their connection was immediate. Unlike some of his more high-profile relationships, his relationship with Bennett was private, grounded, and steady, offering him a sense of stability that became increasingly rare as his fame grew. Even after they ended their romantic relationship, Hutchence and Bennett maintained a close friendship. She understood him deeply and was one of the few people who could offer him comfort and support, especially as the pressures of fame and personal struggles began to take their toll. Throughout his tumultuous life, he would often turn to her for advice and a sense of normalcy. Michele Bennett's role in Hutchence's life was so profound that, on the night of his death in November 1997, she was the last person he reached out to. Reports indicate that Hutchence called her in a state of distress, expressing feelings of despair and frustration. Though she reportedly tried to comfort him, she was unable to ease the profound sense of hopelessness he was feeling. The fact that Hutchence turned to Bennett in his final hours speaks to the deep, unbreakable bond they shared. This heartbreaking detail adds a layer of tragedy to his story, emphasizing just how important she was to him, even until the end. Hutchence's relationship with Australian pop sensation Kylie Minogue was one of the most publicized and transformative relationships of his life. They began dating in 1989 when both were at the peak of their careers, and their romance quickly captured the attention of fans and the media alike. Minogue, with her girl-next-door image, and Hutchence, the rebellious rock star, seemed like an unlikely match, but they shared a deep, genuine connection. Hutchence's influence on Minogue was significant, both personally and professionally. Known for her squeaky clean image, Minogue was pushed to embrace a more daring and mature side during their relationship. Hutchence introduced her to the rock and roll lifestyle, which broadened her world and opened her up to new experiences, something Minogue has spoken about fondly in later years. Their relationship helped her evolve from a pop princess into a more multifaceted artist, an evolution that remains evident in her music and style today. According to Minogue, Hutchence had a magnetic personality that could overwhelm those around him, and she was deeply enchanted by his free-spirited nature. Their relationship was passionate, filled with a sense of adventure and playfulness that was evident in photos and interviews from the time. Although their romance eventually ended, Minogue has spoken warmly about Hutchence and the impact he had on her life, often describing him as someone who encouraged her to embrace the more daring sides of herself. Despite their strong connection, the demands of their careers and Hutchence's increasingly complex personal life led them to part ways. However, there was no bitterness between them, and Minogue remained fond of him, often referring to Hutchence as one of her great loves. In a later interview, Minogue described how Hutchence opened her eyes to the world in a way that no one else had, showing the depth of their emotional bond. Danish supermodel Helena Christensen was another significant relationship in Hutchence's life. The two met in the early 1990s, and their relationship was marked by an intense, passionate connection and a shared love for adventure. Hutchence and Christensen quickly became one of the world's most glamorous couples, with their relationship often making headlines due to their striking appearances and globe-trotting lifestyle. Christensen and Hutchence shared a love for travel and adventure, often exploring exotic locations together. She described Hutchence as the most beautiful human being both inside and out, and their relationship was one in which they felt deeply understood by each other. Christensen, like Minogue, was captivated by Hutchence's charisma, his depth, and his magnetic energy. She later spoke of their connection as something rare and special, and it's clear that she truly adored him. During their time together, Hutchence suffered a life-altering accident in Copenhagen that would haunt him for the rest of his life. While out one night with Christensen, Hutchence was involved in an altercation and fell, hitting his head on a curb. The accident caused him to lose his senses of smell and taste, a seemingly minor change that had a profound impact on his personality and mental well-being. The injury left him feeling detached from the pleasures of life, and it's believed to have contributed to his increasing struggles with depression and anger. The impact of this accident on Hutchence deeply affected Christensen as well. She witnessed the changes in his personality, noting how he became more volatile and frustrated after the injury. Despite these challenges, their relationship continued for some time, marked by a strong emotional connection that even Hutchence's struggles couldn't erase. Although they eventually parted ways, Christensen remained close to Hutchence and continued to speak of him with great love and admiration after his death. She described him as someone who lived life on his own terms and said that losing him was one of the most painful experiences of her life. When Hutchence met Paula Yates in 1985, she was married to Bob Geldof, the lead singer of the Boomtown Rats and an activist who had gained international fame for organizing the Live Aid concerts. Yates was known as a lively and charismatic television host with an edgy persona that matched Hutchence's rebellious spirit. Their chemistry was undeniable, and a passionate romance blossomed between them, one that would prove to be as destructive as it was intoxicating. Though Hutchence and Yates had known each other for years, their affair officially began in the mid-1990s when she interviewed him on her show, The Big Breakfast. The flirtatious interview displayed their chemistry to the public, sparking rumors and gossip. Yates was married at the time, and her marriage to Geldof was already under strain. She found in Hutchence the passion and thrill that she felt had been lost in her relationship with Geldof. Their affair quickly became fodder for tabloids, especially in the British press. Yates' image began to transform in the eyes of the public, from a charismatic TV presenter to the woman who had left Geldof for a rock star. The media painted Hutchence as a seducer and a homewrecker, and their relationship became a subject of public scorn. The scrutiny and judgment weighed heavily on Hutchence, who, despite his rock star image, was a sensitive and introspective person deeply affected by public perception. Hutchence and Yates' relationship grew passionate and intense, but it was also marked by volatility. While Hutchence reportedly longed for stability, the constant paparazzi and pressure from Geldof, who fought for custody of his children with Yates, created a highly toxic atmosphere. Their life became a tug-of-war, with Hutchence caught between his love for Yates and the chaotic fallout her separation from Geldof had caused. Bob Geldof's role in Hutchence and Yates' lives cannot be understated. Geldof fought aggressively for custody of his and Yates' 3 daughters, sought to paint Hutchence as an unstable influence. This battle only intensified Hutchence's struggles with depression and frustration. The custody battle left Hutchence feeling helpless, and he began to feel trapped, fearing that his desire to build a family with Yates and their daughter Tiger Lily would be impossible. As Hutchence's relationship with Yates progressed, his mental health suffered. The pressure of the custody battles, the constant media harassment, and his physical injury from years earlier exacerbated his depression. Friends and bandmates observed changes in his personality. He became more volatile, withdrawn, and prone to outbursts. The injury he sustained while with Helena Christensen played a significant role in altering Hutchence's personality. It left him feeling disoriented, often struggling with rage, and an inability to find pleasure in life due to the loss of his senses of taste and smell. The injury created a constant sense of disconnection which, coupled with his mounting personal struggles, made it difficult for him to cope. To manage his emotions, Hutchence increasingly turned to drugs and alcohol. Friends described him as often unrecognizable, with the once charismatic star turning to substances as a crutch for the overwhelming stress he was facing. The media's continued harassment, paired with the toxic custody battles, worsened his dependency and further pushed him into a downward spiral. In the days leading up to his death in November 1997, Hutchence was at a breaking point. He was separated from Yates due to her custody issues, and his frustrations with Geldof's interference had reached an unbearable level. On the night of his death, he spoke to Michele Bennett, one of his closest friends, expressing despair and frustration over the life he felt he could not live. One of Hutchence's greatest desires was to create a family with Yates and their daughter, Tiger Lily. However, the legal battles and constant harassment prevented him from living a peaceful life with them. This separation created an emotional strain that proved too great for him to bear. In his final days, he was reportedly overwhelmed by loneliness and felt a profound sense of hopelessness. Hours before his death, Hutchence made a series of calls, including one to Bennett, where he expressed his emotional distress. It is widely believed that Hutchence's death was the result of a combination of these pressures and the impact of his prolonged mental health struggles. His passing was a devastating loss both to his family and to the millions of fans who admired him. The aftermath of Hutchence's death had a profound impact on those he left behind, especially Yates and their daughter Tiger Lily. Yates struggled immensely with Hutchence's death, and her own life spiraled downward, leading to her tragic death in 2000. Their daughter, Tiger Lily, was left to be raised by Geldof, a figure who had loomed over Hutchence's life and ultimately assumed guardianship of his daughter. Devastated by Hutchence's death, Yates's life spiraled into chaos. She struggled with addiction and depression, and her death in 2000 from a heroin overdose was a heartbreaking end to a life marked by love and loss. This tragedy added another layer of sorrow to Hutchence's story, as the love of his life met a similar fate. Tiger Lily Hutchence, Hutchence's only daughter, became a symbol of the tragic love story between her parents. Raised by Geldof, she was kept away from much of the media storm surrounding her parents' relationship. Her life serves as a reminder of the deep love her parents shared even amid chaos and heartbreak. Michael Hutchence's life was defined not only by his musical talent but also by the passionate and often tumultuous relationships that shaped him. His romance with Paula Yates, perhaps the most intense of them all, became a story of love caught in the whirlwind of fame, media scrutiny and personal struggles. The Yates love triangle left a profound mark on Hutchence, shaping his final years and ultimately contributing to his tragic end. In the years since his passing, Hutchence has remained an icon remembered for his talent, charisma, and unforgettable presence. While his life was tragically cut short, his legacy endures, leaving fans to remember not only his music but the deeply emotional and complex person behind it. Hutchence's story serves as a reminder of the immense pressures fame can bring and the tragic consequences that sometimes accompany the pursuit of love and happiness in the public eye. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life and loves of Michael Hutchence, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more in-depth content on the lives of iconic artists. Let us know in the comments below what you think about Hutchence's relationships and how you feel they impacted his life and legacy.